I'm Chuck Flaherty. I'm Vice President of Cloud and Engineering for Windstream Communications. I know most folks in the channel community, when they think of Windstream, typically think of network, voice, data, internet, and probably low on the list is UCaaS and cloud. So part of my goal today is to share with you what we've done, the explosive growth we're seeing within the business today. Our path to the cloud has been a little bit different than maybe some of the competitors I'm up on stage with. Our path actually started 30 years ago when we began designing, implementing, and servicing UC and contact center solutions for our customers. In fact, over that course of that 30 years, we became one of Avaya's largest service provider partners and one of Mitel's as well. And we did it in delivering solutions to our clients. Take it a step further, we listened to our customers. And what we've seen over the past years is a transformation taking place. Our clients were asking for more. They're asking for a more flexible platform. As well as we did in the prem world, they wanted more because their customers were demanding more. And so we became one of the first partners to deploy Avaya's UCaaS within our cloud infrastructure itself. We became one of Mitel's first partners to deploy as well, to meet the needs of our customers. How did we do? Well, we've done fairly well to this point. We were, 2 years ago, Avaya's Cloud Partner of the Year. We are one of Mitel's largest cloud partners today, and we're continuing to build on that success. But we haven't stopped there. Our development has moved as the business has moved. Just last year, with the acquisition of Broadview, we integrated in the Office Suite product set, now giving us the small to medium-sized enterprise solution for that segment of the business. We also deployed our first UCaaS for hospitality solution. So now we can go out and address the hotel business. That's a significant part of what we do today. But as well as we've done, we've had a weakness. And the weakness is what's sitting in the room today, and certainly in the hallways here at the Channel Partner Show. We've done a terrible job within the channel community in communicating our successes to you. So a couple things have changed. And hopefully for those that have had a chance to hear both Lane Levine, our president, and Kurt Allen, our new channel chief, the culture, the environment is changing and changing very rapidly. We think the change in that, embracing our clients, our size fits you philosophy, coupled with our UCaaS offerings, coupled with the very significant team that we've got supporting our cloud initiative, makes an unbeatable force. Excited to get the questions today and talk with the panelists, and thanks for having us.
All right, Chuck, thank you. Zane Long from Ring Central.
Hello, everyone. Zane Long, Senior Vice President of Global Channels. And to answer your question, what we do with the Ring Central Partner Program is we serve the partner community. And we do that through what we call channel harmony and collaboration. We make it easy for our partners to do business with Ring Central. And it's interesting, having done this now for 18 years, and I'm looking out into the audience, some people I've not seen in a while and have worked with before. You learn a thing or two if you listen to what partners are telling you. And that becomes what we call the best practices. So best practices is what we learn from the partner community to serve them. And in this particular case, one of the things that I find that is working extremely well for us is the elimination of channel conflict. So when people ask me, when we're talking to partners and we're recruiting them into our program, what is the first question that they think that they would ask us? And typically you think it's going to be, how much are you going to get paid? Or how much spit is it going to be? But it never is. It's always about how are you going to work within the organization, and how do you control channel conflict with the direct sales organization. And we do that through channel harmony. So at Ring Central, we have eliminated that through our channel harmony, which we've now trademarked that, though I coined that phrase many years ago because we learned that lesson. And when you eliminate that conflict, you give the partner the opportunity to win the business. So at Ring Central, we do that through collaboration. The collaboration with our entire direct sales force, we call subject matter experts. And these subject matter experts are there for you. So these 150 direct sales reps are waiting for you to bring them a qualified lead. Now that doesn't mean the partner doesn't get to participate in the opportunity. It just means you have a resource like no other. There's no other carrier out there doing exactly what Ring Central is doing through that collaboration. And we do that also by compensation. Compensation 100% to the partner, 100% to the channel manager of Ring Central, and 100% to the direct salesperson. And through that, we've had tremendous growth in the 2 years that I've been here. So you look at what's happened with the stock at RingCentral. Hopefully you bought it 2 years ago, because look where it is today, almost $70 a share. That contribution comes from you here in this audience. If not for the partner community and the customer bases that you control as the trusted advisors you are to your customers, we wouldn't have this opportunity, but we do. And so we have been very fortunate to be able to work with you and make this work. And so the revenue generation has been tremendous. So we had, in our earnings report last year, we showed some metrics. We know that UCaaS is growing approximately 30% year over year. There's about a 10% market penetration in the US of about a $25 billion market. Globally, it's about a 7% penetration on about a $75 million market. So RingCentral is growing at 40%, UCaaS is growing at 30%, RingCentral is growing at 40%, and the channel program is growing over 100%. But it wouldn't be that way if it weren't for you. And so we're always listening to what your needs are and how we can serve them, and that's how we've had our success. And so today I look forward to the questions. If there's questions, I hope that they'll ask more about how we do our channel harmony and collaboration, or any other questions that you might have. We're obviously very excited about what we're doing, and thank you for having me here.
Thanks, Zane. Bob Chrisman from Vonage.
Get up. We don't have a lot of room to wander here if I fall
Remember,
off the stage.
differentiator, right?
My differentiator, yeah. So I'm Bob Chrisman. I'm the SVP and Global Channel Chief for Vonage. Probably a lot of you have heard of Vonage. We've been around for quite some time, but a lot of people know us from our residential days and some fun commercials we used to have with jingles. But what Vonage is really all about now is, what we really try to do is take a step back, and we start with the customer. If you start with the customer, you can't ever go wrong. And we start with the customer, and what we believe customers are looking for, they don't wake up in the morning saying, I need a new phone system. I just don't believe most of them do that. I think most of them wake up in the morning and they're thinking about, if they're thinking about business at all, they're thinking about, how do I get to market faster? How can I get to know my customers better? How can I beat the 5 guys down the street that I'm competing against? And that's really what we're about at Vonage. We believe in better business outcomes for our customers. We believe communications helps them get there. But we really believe at the end of the day that just selling communications, that isn't the answer. It's selling these better business outcomes. So I think what really makes us different is we absolutely have unified communication. We're a leader in that. We're a billion-dollar company. But we bring some other things together with it. So we're not just selling dial tone. We're bringing unified communications together with what we call communication platform as a service. And what that does is, so I've been in the business 25 years. I've never written a line of code in my life. So the way I think of communication platform as a service is, it's a toolbox. It's a bunch of APIs. But it allows you to take these unified communication services and plug them in with all of your other business processes, whether it's your CRM, your ERP, whatever it might be, to get to those better business outcomes. So what my job is as the channel chief is to arm all of you with those better business outcomes. So you can go and not talk to just the director of IT, but talk to the CFO, talk to the chief marketing officer, talk to the head of HR, and find out what their business problems are and talk about how we can help solve them together. I've been on board at the company for 6 months now. I've been at Channels for 15 years. And what I've really been focused on since I've been here is making it easier for you to do business with us. We just announced a partner program 2 weeks ago. We have a new partner portal. It's going to be world-class going next week. We have demos of it in the booth. We have what we call Vonage Teaming Plus. We've made it, our sales folks, our channel folks, partners, everybody gets compensated 100%. Plus, we actually bring opportunities to you because we think it's got to be bi-directional. It's got to work both ways. So our goal is, let's make those customers incredibly satisfied, incredibly pleased with the end result, and let's help you do it.
Thanks, Bob. Last but certainly not least, from Call Tower, William Rubio.
Is it okay if I stand up on the chair? All these guys are so much taller than me. So guys, thank you very much for coming out. My name is William Rubio. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for Call Tower. And Call Tower's been around for about 16 years, and we were kind of unique even when we started out that we were one of the first to actually deploy a Cisco Call Manager into a cloud environment, into a private cloud environment, back when even Cisco thought it was pretty much taboo. And we realized, started to see the writing on the walls during those years that unified communications, presence, IM, those type of features was really going to be something that customers or employees were really demanding of their IT organizations. So just like everyone that's up here, we've evolved our program that We are a Cisco Gold a Microsoft Gold partner as well. We introduced Link back when it was actually OCS, and then actually started to do Skype for Business. We've been doing that already for several years as a native provider within Skype. And one of the main things that we always get when we say that is, what the heck does native mean, right, compared to being integrated? And it's really different because the way that we actually deploy and work within Office 365 is anything from a soft phone to telephony presence all resides within the Office 365 environment overall. And we realize that Cisco and Microsoft currently today have about 68% of the market share of all UCaaS licenses that are out there. And roughly there's about 125 million. So 68% is about 52% is Microsoft, and about 16% is actually Cisco, and everybody else fits into the other 32%. So we know that that's a big market share. But we realize that that's not enough. We realize that being a UCaaS provider, overall, customers are coming to us saying, I want contact center, I want mobile apps, I want to be able to deploy on a global level, and I also want to be able to see if you could provide to me or be more of a solutions provider. Just recently, about a month and a half ago, we acquired an organization by the name of Appia Communications. They were based out of Traverse City, Michigan. They're a big SIP and a meta switch provider overall. And we realized that there was a gap in there that we basically are filling, that was a void for our customers. And about Call Tower, it's about providing that solution. So instead of me going out there and saying, we're going to provide you Cisco, or we're going to provide you Microsoft, or we're going to provide you Meta, why do you have to choose? Why not use all those 3 different platforms together? And what we did is we created a platform called Call Tower Connect. Everybody kind of uses the word connect all over, so it wasn't too great on our marketing guys. But Connect, basically what it does is the brainchild that it is a portal of portals, and you just do one login as an administrator. You go in there and you can work with all these different platforms that we have, and you could basically make all the changes from an administrative standpoint. So our customers really like that when they come to us and they say, we're going out there and we're acquiring a company that has a disparaged phone system, and we're currently using Cisco, do we have to rip and replace theirs? And we say, no, we'll just go ahead and we'll just help you work with them and make sure that we can integrate those 2 platforms together. So we've been doing that for about 16 plus years. We're dedicated to the channel, 100% overall, and look forward to all the questions. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, advisory members. I'll be circling throughout the audience too. We would definitely want this to be interactive throughout everybody, so we're going to have questions for all of you, but we're going to start with the panelists and go from there.
Right, so these guys are afraid of my question, guys. So if it's a good question, you can say ooh afterwards. So essentially, you guys all spoke a lot about your partner programs and your kind of customized support for the end user as well. So at a certain point, your differentiators seem to me to be a lot like similarities. So much like the hotels all around us here in Vegas, you see the flashing lights of all the different attractions at every single one, but essentially they serve the same purpose. So from a personnel standpoint, what is one thing that you can say about your team that differentiates you from the counterparts on the panel? We'll start with Bob.
Start with me, wow.
Ooh.
So talking about my team, and I know I talked about the larger Vonage sales team. So a few things. So one is we have over 400 sales professionals out there in the US, and they're all incented to work with partners. So whether that's account executive salespeople, SEs, support people, et cetera, we've lined them up into what we call Vonage teaming pods. So you go to any geography, go to Dallas, you're going to have a regional channel manager, you have sales folks, you have an SE, you have inside sales, you have support, you have service delivery. They're all aligned with each other, so that way you as a partner, if you're working with us in Dallas, you're going to get this same experience over and over again. Because what I found over time is, again, assuming you can make as much money with me as the other guys, assuming we're easy to do business with, I think what you want, what partners always tell me is, they want consistency. If you're going to build a business around me, you want to know which direction we're going. You want consistency. Consistency in the people you deal with, consistency in the strategy, and I think we've lined that up really nicely. It makes us a little bit different than the other guys.
Chuck, can you top that?
Oh, I can top that. Certainly.
That's no fair, I went first.
I'm sure the others will take their swing as well. How's that? Look, consistency is important. What we're finding within the channel community is provide consistent, steady support and the expertise at the table. What your customers want is not a one-size-fits-all. It needs to be customized, right? So we certainly have the transactional side of UCaaS, which is typically the smaller businesses that we deal with. But as we head up market, our average size customer runs over 500 seats. The applications, the social media that we're interfacing with have become even more extensive. What our partners want is someone to sit at the table with them to help support them through that endeavor, as much or as little as they need. In my organization, I have over 200 folks dedicated to both engineering and cloud design, in-field support for that. So hopefully what we deliver is a differentiated story at the end of the day. It is about delivering UCaaS services, but it's about delivering it in a way that impacts their business. What we find with our customers today, they all have a strategy to win. Our goal with our channel partners is to find that strategy. What is it, and how can our technologies help them win in the marketplace? You know, their customers are demanding more. They want that seamless interaction. That customer journey has never been more important. And so what our engineers and our field teams and our channel support teams do is help provide that at the field level.
Zane, you're dying to jump in.
Oh, yeah. You're reading my body language? What? You know, it's interesting. You know, UCaaS, speaking of it as a product, you know, I've said this before, but, you know, this is not just a product of the decade, it's a product of the century. And, you know, never before in my career have I had an issue of abundance. And that's a really interesting thing to try to take on, right? When you think about the abundance of opportunity, you look at the transformation that's coming from prem-based into the cloud. And how do you control that abundance? And the way that we're controlling that abundance, by the way, is what I'd mentioned before, right? So our partners, we have one expectation of our partners today, because we want to be easy to be worked with. And I'll saying before we go into some of those metrics, but we ask our partners to do what they do best, we'll do what we do best, and then together we'll win. And we do that, again, back through that collaboration. So last quarter, the kind of lead generation that we had into RingCentral organization, we actually were almost overwhelmed with the leads that were coming in. Because the process that we put in place was something we call one to infinity. So we want to capture every piece of the marketplace. Every customer that a partner brings to us as a qualified lead is important to RingCentral. And so we have segmentation through our direct sales organization. So we have a group of 1 to 99 where direct salespeople are waiting for the leads, the qualified leads that the partners are bringing in. And we go and close that business on behalf of the partner. At 100 users and above, it's where we begin to what we call ring the bell for the cavalry, and we bring in our specialists along with the partners, their sales engineers, our sales engineers, and create a strategy to go after these larger opportunities and customers. And so by having a segmentation of direct salespeople and the qualified lead, the expectation from our partners being only bring us a qualified lead is something we stand behind. It's certainly proving successful, and we think that's how working with RingCentral will be different for partners in this room.
William?
Last but not least. So one of the things that we've seen from a transformation standpoint over the last 10 years or so is that if everybody remembers old IT organizations, they were kind of looked at as a necessary evil, right? They were there to fix your computer. They were there to basically plug your phone in if it wasn't working. And you've now seen a shift that these organizations have to become relevant. And when they're becoming relevant within their organizations, they have to provide some type of return on investment to their organization. Just like Bob had mentioned earlier, how do we gain that market share? How is it that we work with the rest of the business units to really kind of bring our organization to the next level? So while they're sticking to that and really focusing on that with the rest of their groups, they need organizations like Call Tower that could basically work with our partners directly and really kind of be that extended arm of their IT support. They want us to do the heavy lifting when it comes to everything around UCaaS. So one of the things that we did is with our support team is we want to make sure that our support team is very well armed, especially with the fact that we have different voice platforms and different UCaaS platforms that we work with, that they're educated and we invest a lot of money and time and resources with them. One of the statistics I love to share with our potential customers is 86% of requests that come in on a monthly basis to our support team is handled within the same day and resolved that same day. So instead of them having to go to a tier 2 or a tier 3, our guys are smart enough and they invest their time in training to actually take care of those issues. And what that does is for our customers and our partners, it lets our partners really work with those IT organizations to basically bring us in and work on the rest of the different opportunities that exist within that organization. Because nowadays, you're not just talking to the CIO, you're now talking to the chief marketing officer, you're now talking to HR about video collaboration, and everyone's more of a global organization. So you have to be sure to be able to service those needs and let us do that heavy lifting and let our partners be that consultative advisor to our customers.
Rick, you're up.
Sure. I'm an MSP, and you talk about, Willie, you talk about the IT guys and how relevant they are today, and MSPs become the trusted advisor of their clients, right, for the SMB. Essentially, whoever we recommend to that client, in most cases, they're shaking their head up and down saying, I trust you, go for it. But at that point, my reputation, our reputation, and the people's reputation that have made that suggestion is on the line. I want to know what you've invested in your company in order to protect that reputation when you execute the implementation for that SMB customer, let's say 50 to 500 seats. Go
1
ahead,
minute
Chuck.
or less. Who's going first?
Oh, me?
Go ahead.
Okay,
sir.
you got
If
it.
you want to, go. TC told me that my pay depends on how many questions we get answered, so let's go quick.
Rapid fire.
Look, one thing we've learned along the way from making the move from prem to cloud is every interaction is important and makes sense. If you look at where we start, it's about designing our solution right the first time. Where it comes off track is where we don't, and it's where we don't know enough about the customer and their needs. So first is design, second is moving to implementation. We have a full cloud deployment team that handles all of our implementations across the board, as well as, and I haven't mentioned this, the network that we deploy along with our solution. That, coupled with our day two support, our monitoring and management, our ability for our clients to interact and interface with us throughout that process, ensures we deliver 100% of the time.
Do it right the first time.
Keep in mind that you have your partner that you can't remove from the equation. Just putting that out there. They have to be involved from a technical and customer perspective all along the way.
Absolutely. We're linked arm in arm with our partners through that deployment schedule. We want them to know before we communicate with the customers our time frames, what we're doing, and what our commitments will be.
Yeah, the partner's integral in this process. There's no question about it. You know, and I mentioned before about the trusted advisorship that customers depend upon with their partners. And when you're doing implementation and provisioning, the partner's a key part of that. In addition, by the way, to keeping that customer for a very long time, obviously because we're going to pay you your commissions for the lifetime of the customer, we want to keep them for a very long time, don't we? And you know, what's interesting, and it's always been this way, hasn't it? Right? When you compare, for example, customers that come to us by way of other lead sources beside a partner, and we do get a few of those, you know, the churn rate is very different for those types of customers, isn't it? When you look at leads that come by way of partners, you should know that at Ring Central, that it's almost half. So the churn for leads that come by way from of partners is almost half of that of the churn. And this is because of what the partners bring to the table. Their involvement with the customer to also ensure working together with a partnership with Ring Central ensures that customer does stay with us for a very long time. In addition to that, we understand too the requirement for dedicated, you know, partner support. And at Ring Central, we have a team of people in Denver, 25 people who are dedicated to making sure that the Ring Central partners get what they need.
So with a number from 0 to 100, once you get a sale, how much does the partner have to be involved?
100%.
The partner needs to be involved all the way through? Do any of you take deals, work them all yourself, and just move the ball forward, and partner brings you a sale? And
Yeah, we absolutely do, because that's the partner has that opportunity to make that decision, particularly in the 1 to 99 users. You know, partners have told me that, you know, a 20 user deal, I don't have a lot of time for that. We resolve that by putting in place a dedicated team of
0 to
people to
100.
sell it.
0 to 100%, how much does the partner have to be involved?
As much as they like, so I'll say 100%.
Yeah, I don't think it's that simplistic. It depends is the answer, right? I think the sooner we get a partner involved in the process and the more they want to be involved, I think the better outcome we have. Because I truly believe teams win. We can go and we can do a great job talking about our solutions. The partner can go and great job talking about what they're doing, but teams win. The sooner we get together in the sales process and go in and not sell them, but ask questions. Again, what are your problems? What are your pain points? What keeps you up at night? If we can do that, we're going to tailor a better solution. And the solution's going to be that much better when not only does the partner take what we bring together with UCaaS and CPaaS and strategic partnerships we have with AWS and whatnot, but they can bring other pieces to the table too, and you get a better solution. So I would say, you know, 100%, I think it's best for the partner to be involved, because then you're truly selling a solution, not just a product.
It does vary from 0 to 100. It really depends on the partner and how involved they want to get. However, when we start to look at customers, we have a policy that anybody about 200 users or above, we have a dedicated account team, and usually we like those partners to actually be part of that account team. So we'll reach out on a monthly basis to those customers and really work with them to understand and ask those difficult questions like Bob just mentioned, as far as what it is that they're needing, not just today, but also in the future. So we like our partners to actually be more involved than not at all. It just really depends on whether they want to or not.
Yeah, there's a big difference between marketing speak and execution.
That's right.
And you have to execute, and your partner has to be the center point, focal point of that, because they brought you to the party.
Yeah, the implementation is a small life cycle, right? I mean, it's going to last 30 days or it's going to last 120. But after that, that post-sale, right, that support is going to be ongoing for the next 3 to 5 years.
So we're in agreement 100%, right?
But it does go back to, I mean, the type of partners that I want to work with, they're not just doing a flyby and moving on to the next thing. I want partners that are in there for the long haul and that look, they have a book of business, they have a book of customers, and they're not just selling them one thing. Again, they're solving these business problems and they're going and solving multiples. And I want to arm the partner to do that because it's going to be a better deal monetarily for you if you can go back. Acquiring new customers is really expensive, right? I mean, marketing is an expensive thing. If you can go back and keep working and selling additional services to that customer and helping them with their business, you're going to win, we're going to win, the customer's going to win most importantly.
All right, Brian's chomping at the bit here to ask a question, so.
Yeah, I think TC put some weapons underneath your seat, so if you could just check that and start the bloodshed
Well, you
now.
have the red coat on, so you said
That's
you want to see
right,
the
right.
blood.
In case there was blood splatter, I wore the red.
And we're coming to the audience next, so hand in the air for first question.
So I work in post-sales, right? So stuff really only hits my desk if something goes wrong. So what are you guys doing from a service delivery perspective and post-implementation support better than the guy that's sitting next to you to ensure a good experience and repeat business?
So you know, what we're doing is we're saying it's not, you can't break post-sales into all the different phases. I mean, functionally you might have to, but we brought it all together under one senior leader. We brought somebody on who's our senior VP of customer experience. Everything post-sale, he's responsible for end-to-end, and we're putting the systems, or he's put the systems in place, so it's gonna be a seamless experience. You don't get lost in a handoff, that type of thing. And again, thinking about what's the bigger thing we're trying to solve for. So yeah, let's get implemented what we've sold today, but let's keep an eye on what are other problems we can solve for the customer. So I think it's taking a more holistic view of it, and again, working with the partner. You know, make sure, yes, we can implement our piece of it, but what else is the partner bringing to the table and making sure we're connected? So that's why we have that as part of our pods, if you will, so we can ensure that success.
Now, all of our implementation project managers, when they're wrapping up a project, we actually have what we call a client support plan that we actually share with our customers, and it's a warm handoff. So one of our support managers will actually get on the phone with that customer and actually walk through that pen-page document. How to pay your bill, how to reach us. Different things like that all of a sudden they've talked to 20 different people in my organization, and a week goes by and they say, oh, I forgot to do training on this, who do I go to? And they're just kind of looking at you and they don't know what to do. This kind of helps them with that. So when you have a little bit more of that warm, that human touch more than anything else, it really goes a long way and really helps in that post-support.
Yeah, educating customers is really the start, right? You've got to make sure you set the expectations with the customer, and that's where, you know, our subject matter expert and direct salespeople come into play. And so when you begin the process of educating the customer on UCaaS and RingCentral UCaaS so that they can make that buying decision, that's where it really begins. And so that expectation is set. And obviously, we have, you know, our professional services and implementation and provisioning process. You know, what demonstrates that, of course, are metrics, right? So, you know, if you've got large customers and enterprise customers that we've been able to bring on most recently, and you can implement and provision these global customers in 80 different countries around the world, you know, that is a testament that you are able to do that for any customer that might be looking for it. And so obviously this is an important part of what we do. I'll go back to also the partner support, making sure that you're involved, you know what's going on, you know what's happening in the implementation process, which is why we provide that 800 support number, making sure that you have complete access in with any question you may have in regards to the process and or any question that your customer may pose to you. We have someone dedicated to make sure that you get that answered.
So let me go to the end result first, which is we measure and monitor every installation that we do from a UCaaS perspective. At the end of it, we grade ourselves. Our customer grades us on how well we did. In order for that to be an outstanding experience, we go back to the beginning, which is all about ensuring every member of our team is on the same page with regards to what we've done. Before we even have our first kickoff call with the customer, right after an agreement has been signed, we meet internally with our partners. We talk about the specifics to that particular deal. What did we do to win it? What were the expectations of the client? What were the hot buttons? We ensure that from engineering to support, everyone's fully aware of what it took to bring this customer aboard. We provide our customers with a project timeline, project plan, exactly what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and when we're going to do it, most importantly. Every week we do a status call with our clients and our channel partners to talk about the status of those particular customers. We also have an agent portal, right, for our channel partners so that they've got an ability to go in and not only look at the customer base, but everything that's in flight. So you can look and see the status. Where are we meeting our commitments, or where do we need to extend?
Let's get,
so
we're
it-
doing good so far, right, guys? Come on. Gotta pick it up.
So we talk about how we win business, how we take care of clients. In 5 words or less, tell me why you lose deals.
We win more than our fair share. I mean, look, we do. We are, we lead the Gartner report. It's really where customers sometimes start to look at.
More than 5 words.
You're gonna have,
5 words or less.
was
Why do you-
someone counting?
I mean-
Lane, were you counting?
Lane is
Okay.
hitting the clicker.
Why do we, when we lose deals, and I would say when anybody loses deals? Because we don't listen. Gotta listen. Can't
good.
just talk all the time. Gotta listen.
When we lose, we're not focusing on customer needs, plain and simple.
It's really the education of the customer. If you're not showing your value proposition, that's when we lose.
Y'all know I
I
can't.
said,
Thank
we,
you, Lane.
we don't lose. I have
Focus on-
three.
Audience,
Three.
anybody in the audience
Three.
questions?
Sales
Anybody in the
guys
audience
like
have
to
any
talk.
questions?
Oh, come on,
You
gang.
get a nice new mug and a free day of vacation,
Right?
if you ask a question. All right, panelists.
All right, so let's talk about social media integration, because social media is a very important part of me. I mean, I Instagram and Snap constantly, right, all day, and I'm sure everybody in here does as well. But what types of things are you doing with your applications or your platform when it comes to social media for customer service?
So look, when I look at our business today, 75% of what we do within the cloud is contact center related. 75% of our customer base has some type of contact center functionality, which is significant in the business. And there's really, there are 2 components to it. One is the technology that we're deploying, and it's not just having a technology to interface with social media. I think we'd all say we can do that and we can do that well. It's what are we doing with that information to enhance the customer experience? How do I take that social media interaction, bump that up against the database, and deliver a clear journey, a clear path to, as an example, the right customer service rep that can support that particular opportunity. But the other piece to it is what I refer to as the human glue to this entire process, which is having the right engineers engaged. We have tremendous contact center engineers that support our business today. They do a day in the life, which is actually sitting in a contact center behind supervisors and agents, looking at scripting, looking at call flow, looking at the different social media applications that are being supplied, and coming up and developing solutions that make sense. How do we improve it? We don't want to do what you're doing today. How do we take it, steps further from that?
William?
So on the social media platform, we focus with the 3 different contact center platforms that we work with. And we understand that whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, et cetera, you need to make sure to have that interface available, because all of a sudden you could have a customer that could reach out and just start having some negative publicity about you, and you have to be able to make sure to react. It can make or break you. We're even seeing that when customers call into our support. I mean, only about 40% of our customers actually pick up the phone and call. Everything is driven out through social media, web chat, so it's a lot more integration in that sense that you have to have. And it's very important to make sure that you can react and be proactive, even if it is a negative comment that you have on somebody. So one of our customers sees a negative comment, you want to be able to go ahead and resolve that right away.
Sure. Zane?
It's why we have a product that we're very proud of. What's called GLIP, right? It's a collaboration tool, allows through a single application the opportunity to launch video, audio, from one single application on your iPhone and or from your computer. In addition to that, the messaging capability, the way that you can segment different groups is something that we provide actually for free. So if anyone would like to try GLIP, we'd be happy to set you up and let you utilize it so you can kind of take a look at what we're using inside our company as well as what our partners are using. And we find that is obviously where the future's going. So when you think about these collaboration tools, this is something that integrates with almost everything, and every every customer that we have can utilize that collaboration. And so it's a pretty terrific product, and we believe that's obviously where things are headed.
Sure. Bob, do you have the GLIP?
Yeah. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. We're in the Thunderdome, guys. This is feeling kind of like a panel, a little bit slow. So I mean, here's the reality. This is kind of what's demonstrated is we all kind of have the same stuff, right? When you're talking unified communications, it's not that different. Whether it's Ring or it's us or 8 or Windstream, whoever, it's not that different. It all kind of looks the same. So what you got to ask yourself is how do you go out there, and again, we're doing a feature comparison here. I mean, do you really want to go out and do a feature comparison? Because what happens when you get into a feature comparison and we're all the same, guess what? Then it's like, who's going to get me the best deal, right? Who's going to go lowest down to 0? Who's going to give you the most spiff or whatever happens to be? The more interesting strategy to take and the longer, more successful one, I would argue, for all of you as business owners, again, think about how are you going to solve the customer? What problems do they have? I promise you, they really, 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 unless they've had an awful experience, hopefully not with us, but with somebody else, they really don't wake up in the morning and saying, gosh, I got to get a new phone system. They don't do that. We got to think about how we go out there and we're solving a bigger problem. Because you can look at unified communications, you could look at communications platform as a service, and they're nice markets. I mean, Zane was putting out some stats. These are fast-growing markets, right? That's awesome. But think bigger. Think about companies that have been wildly successful. Think of Facebook, think of Microsoft, think of Google. They didn't get there because they said, I'm going to sell a better spreadsheet or I'm going to have a better search engine. They thought bigger. They thought about what's the bigger nut here we're trying to solve. They thought more about the customers. What all of those companies have in common, I would argue, they're maniacally focused on their customer. They wake up every day, they think about what does my customer need, and more importantly, Steve Jobs and Apple was awesome at this. I live in Silicon Valley, so I hear amazing stories. They were thinking about things that customers didn't know they needed. So if you get to know your customer better, you're going to be able to kind of see the problems they have. They don't even know yet. That's what you want to do. And again, we can go back and we can all compare features. It's all going to look the same. It really isn't going to be that different. But how can you and how can we help you figure out those unarticulated needs? How can we help your customers sell more? I mean, at the end of the day, unless they're a not-for-profit, they probably want to sell more and make more money. They want to send their kids to college. They want to pay off their loan. How do we help them do that? That's what we got to take a step back and do. And when we do that, that's when this thing becomes so much bigger than any one of us, and there's going to be plenty of pie to go around. So I would challenge you to do that. Had to mix it up.
All right, Rick has a question.
Let's play off of what Bob said there. You got to think about the future when you're making an investment in a partner relationship with any kind of vendor and for your customers, right? So I want to talk about roadmaps, product roadmaps, as it relates to, let's say, the Internet of Things, right? It's obviously coming at us. It's a broader and broader topic. UCaaS has reached maturization, perhaps, even at this point, because you just said everybody's got the same toys and tools. So talk to me about what's coming down the pike, and if you can put a spin on it to IoT, I'd be very, very interested.
Should we get up and walk in front of this? Should we walk in front of the
I'll make it
stage
easy.
again?
Go left to right. Go ahead, Will.
I guess to address the first elephant in the room, as far as UCaaS goes, I mean, you could look at any reports from Frost & Sullivan and some of the old ones out there. It's growing. I mean, right now it's about a $28 billion industry. It's going to grow to about $48 billion over the next 3 years. And when you look at digital transformation, when you start to look at UCaaS overall, even on the contact center side, it's about $85 billion right now. So those markets are obviously increasing because of the demands of the end users are actually increasing. You're starting to see right now that a lot of employees are coming to those organizations and they're saying, I have my own devices, right? I don't want devices anymore. And you're also seeing that they want those different types of applications that before they would have to go and get from 10 different vendors, and now they're basically saying, I just want it from one vendor or two vendors to really manage that whole experience for me overall. So we're doing, from a product standpoint, we're doing integrations as far as continuing to expand our international footprint that we've been doing for the last year. We're about to announce integration with Zoom that we're going to be doing specifically for Skype for Business as well. We're also going to be doing the integration with the Metaswitch and the Skype for Business platform as well. And Microsoft, whether you love them or hate them, you have to use them, right? I mean, they just announced that their Microsoft Teams is going to be a big part of their Skype for Business. They're looking at actually even integrating those two together, and we're at the forefront of that. We're going to be making some press release announcements here in the next few weeks on that. So whether you like them or not, you got to join them. And they have, by the end of this year, their projection right now is they're going to be over 100 million users on Office 365. At one point or another, all those want some type of voice and collaboration services. So that's what we're here to do.
You know, and I'll take just a quick. I don't think we should worry about that right now, guys. UCaaS.
Really?
If you're not focusing on UCaaS right now, I dare say you're making a mistake. Look, many of us in here have been doing this a very long time. And how often does a product like this come along? We're about 10% penetration in the marketplace of about a $25 billion market. If you're looking globally, right, there's about 7% penetration of about a $75 billion market. Why be looking at any other product? This is the product you should be looking at. There's a lot of money to be made. This is a land grab. I mentioned before about the abundance. You got to take advantage of the abundance. Here's a metric for you if you don't already know. When a customer makes their first cloud buying decision, they're off the market for 5 to 6 years. Why? Because they've exhausted the value proposition of moving from prem-based into the cloud. So typically that 30 to 40% saving with all the value proposition that UCaaS can provide. It's time to focus on now. There'll be a time that'll come where we're going to focus more on that, but right now we need to be focusing on a product that's in front of us. Let's make some money.
Right.
This is the revenue generation time.
In reality, we already are dealing with IoT because every one of these smartphones that has your app on it is an IoT situation.
Well, I don't disagree
Now,
with you. I'm just
think
looking for
about
focus.
the billions and billions and billions of IoT devices that are going to be coming out, and they have to have connectivity, right?
It's
And
never-
communication.
It's never an either or, it's both. So it comes down to integration, right? How can you do integrations, which comes down to solutions, which comes down to having the tools to do it.
I'm just wondering if you've thought about communicating with those devices that are going to be out there and needing to send that data back.
We already have it. We have integration with the Echo devices from AWS. I mean, if I were, bet on AWS. If you haven't bought some Amazon stock, there's a stock to buy. Bet on AWS, $20 billion, 50% year-over-year growth. Tie yourself to them somehow, and that's an interesting way to get into IoT.
Right.
Well, so we talk about, hang on, so
ahead.
we talk about growth and, and that money grab and those things about making money. So what are your guys', because with UCaaS, everybody has their own CAGR, right? Their own compound annual growth rate. What are you guys seeing in situations like that where, from the time someone buys, where are they at 3-4 years down the road and what they spend with you? For the folks in the room, $1,000 a month phone system, or UCaaS, what is that in year 2, year 3, year 4? What are you guys seeing?
So let me say this. First, it is a land grab. Don't disagree. However, projecting ahead, looking ahead is important. We'll talk a little bit about what Windstream's doing to forward think in that direction. Our percentage rate right now is 28% in our mid-market and 68% in enterprise, which today
It's good.
is in the enterprise world is the fastest growing segment of the marketplace.
Zane, how about you guys?
Yeah, that's the same for us. When you look at the major account enterprise, you might have, if you listened to our earnings call, and you maybe should have, since you've seen almost about a 300% growth in our stock over the last 2 years.
Compound annual growth rate.
You
Not
would
commercials.
see that that's due to our partners bringing us enterprise-type customers, again, as a trusted advisor. And when you get more of those enterprise customers, you get more of them, right? And so they become very referenceable. And in enterprise is where the growth is. In fact, when you hear our earnings call, we often talk about that. There's 2 growth engines in our company. That's channel and enterprise. And this is the time to take advantage of that right now, right? So if you're not out there seeking and sourcing, if you actually even have an opportunity to talk to enterprise customers, you need to get down that path. And the partners in this room, if you've got customers that fit that mode, the enterprise, 1,000 users or greater, RingCentral's your choice. Guys, we've got the customer testimonials, we've got the references.
No, that's good.
We
Bob,
can
how-
show that to you.
There was a jab in there somewhere.
What are you guys showing from an annual growth rate for client?
We're above the UCaaS market growth rate, and then we have CPaaS as well, because we're not just a UCaaS company, we're CPaaS, and it's how it comes together. That is a rocket ship. There's basically 2 big players in that, us and Twilio.
Well, there's no question that, and a lot of us, I think, probably came from the connectivity world, so it's been a race to zero for years. So products like this are great for, our industry to help, as that it keeps increasing. William, how about you guys?
So we saw last year in 2017, we saw a 32% growth rate
awesome.
on the UCaaS overall, and it's increasing. And to answer your question, Shane, earlier about when you see a customer, especially when they're coming for UCaaS, they still don't know everything that they need because there's so much of it that they could actually do so many different applications. Usually we'll see that customer, whether it's 1,000 or whether it's 50,000 a month, they usually, within about the first 3 to 4 months, they grow about 25 to 30% immediately. And then when you start to look at that customer a year, 2 years down the road, they're usually spending about 60 to 70% more than what they started with, because they just keep adding more services. And the more applications and the more value add you can bring to the table, it's stickier overall, and you're just going to see those customers grow.
So you guys talked a little bit about value that you bring to the customers, and I was just wondering from a data hosting standpoint, how many of you are using third-party data hosting solutions and centers versus establishing your own? And if you are using third-party data center solutions, how can you ensure adequate security for your partners and their customers?
Get up and pace.
Go ahead, Chuck.
We'll stay here. So we initially established our UCaaS platform in our own data centers, which we've now offloaded. They're in SSAE 16 data centers, fully compliant, security, and within each we've got our own secure environment. Every compliance from HIPAA, GLIBA, you name it, we're compliant with each, and that interconnected with our SD-WAN product set allows that connectivity out to client site uninterrupted.
Zane?
Yeah, we also, the dedication that we have in our data centers and we have the multi-pops, the way that we go to market, we utilize too, just as Bob was saying too here, that with Amazon data centers, we're also establishing, we'll be making an announcement sometime here in the near future, also moving into Canada. Canada has some very interesting requirements from government agencies, and so today we don't actually have our own dedicated data centers in Canada. We'll be making that transition here very shortly. As government agencies do make that kind of requirement, and so as we move forward, those are the kinds of things that we're going to be looking at.
Yeah, we're AWS Smart WAN. We believe utilizing that really allows us to offer an excellent experience for the customer. We just announced this week actually a 5 nines reliability guaranteed. A lot of our competitors have that in a narrow sense. We've gone much broader because we think of the infrastructure we have with Smart WAN. With AWS, we can have more uptime than anybody else.
So we're in third-party data centers overall, and what we do is we make sure that they are all SOX compliant, SOC 1, SOC 2 compliant, to make sure that we are. And then all of our platforms, since it does revolve around Cisco and Microsoft for the most part, they all are HIPAA and PCI compliant.
Do you guys have teams that are dedicated to that compliance? Is it an individual on your team? How does that?
Well, it's teams and it's processes, right? So we have processes, and we try to break those processes, see what happens in case of any type of security breaches on those.
The question was if you can play in one vertical, one, so it's one word. It's one word. If you can play in one vertical, which one do you pick?
Healthcare.
Financial.
Retail.
Healthcare.
All right.
There we go.
They answered the question.
That's
one
right.
word.
One word. Anybody in the audience, questions? So the question is about handsets. So
Word.
I'm going to shorten it up a little bit and say, what percentage of your clients buy, how many people buy handsets, and when do you think if handsets will be obsolete?
Oh, I think 3/4 of ours buy handsets today. When will it be obsolete? No time in the near future, I don't believe. We're seeing more moves to soft phones, certainly, even in contact centers. We've got more of our folks moving towards, that remote type of agent structure. So I want to be able to send and receive, and any social media from a tablet, from a soft phone. You name it.
75%, they're going to be around for a long time.
I think it's a very similar percentage. I think the future, there's no question that we will begin to move away from that. We'll see that, and I think we're seeing it dropping, right? So those percentages are dropping, but having the application, RingCentral application on your iPhone or Android, the utilization of that, I think we're all heading in that direction. And quite frankly, look, we're not in the hardware business at RingCentral,
Right,
we're in the
absolutely.
software business. So we're listening to our customers, and they're telling us what they need.
Bob, how about you guys?
About 75% and it's customer driven. My crystal ball is as good as
Right,
Zane's or
no,
yours on
understood.
this. So, we got to listen to the customers, and different customers are going to go different paths depending on the vertical they're in and that type of thing.
See anything different?
No, it's about 30%, but really where you see the big change over to headsets is really more in the contact center.
If you had to
Should we get
sell,
you
yeah. If you had to sell someone else on stage besides yourself, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And it's one word.
Can I start with that one? I would sell actually all three of them. Because I think all three of them actually bring in.
The easy way out.
Here's a mug.
I got my mug on that. Easy way out.
Well done.
Great, come on. Come on, Bob.
I'm a drink the Kool-Aid guy. I believe, I didn't go looking for Vonage, they came looking for me when I came to the company. And I was, when our CEO, Alan Mazurek, shared his vision with me, I was sold, I was there. So I would not rather be, don't want to be in another seat than the one I'm in. Sorry. I'll still give you a mug.
That's beautiful.
I'd sell Vonage for 10 users or less.
All right.
Okay, there you go.
You said y'all do enterprise.
We'll sell all three. How's that? You know, everyone's going, when do we get to the happy hour? It's
Audience, anybody else? Any question?
sure.
You must have someone he drinks coffee with. He needs 2 mugs. Quick, the question is, how are people migrating from the Allworks platform onto, this is directly to Windstream, right? How are you migrating customers off of Allworks into a new platform?
That's right. So I was actually engaged and involved at the onset of Allworks and our IP Simple product set. We're actually in the process now of testing those handsets and that on our Office Suite product set, so that we've got a path for migration to the cloud for those clients.
If I'm not mistaken, there's somebody also that's providing a hosted cloud Allworks environment.
Actually, can I ask a question of the audience? In
Absolutely.
one word, what's the thing we all need to do better for you? Maybe 2 words. Anyone? I'll give you a mug.
What can the suppliers do to help you guys sell more UCaaS? Anyone?
Yeah, I'd say be strategic with partners and you want to separate yourself from competition.
That deserves a mug and a notebook. What else?
Anybody else? After the sale, service customers with integrity. I mean, I'm in the same business. Does everybody agree? I mean, it's a different type of sale, right? I mean, we're not slinging circuits anymore. It's the points up there is you've got to dig in and find out what a client really wants.
That's right.
You got to solve business problems, not just put phones on desks.
Yep. And, I'll speak for Vonage. We'd love the opportunity to partner with those of you in the audience we don't partner with now. We think we're doing a lot of the right things. There's a lot of good alternatives, but we'd love the opportunity to earn your trust and earn your business. We actually put a flyer on each of your chairs. You can go ahead and use Vonage Reach, and you'll get an extra 1x spiff, just those of you in this room, through this quarter. So give us a try.
Well, listen, at the beginning, we did a fairly mediocre job in educating our channel community about what Windstream's doing from a cloud perspective. I hope you learned something from us today, understand the forward direction. As far as educating clients on products other than RingCentral, we'd be glad to do that. And we look forward to that partnership, certainly.
Zane and William, closing thoughts?
I guess just one tip overall. I know it's in the partner community, it's very challenging because you got 4 guys up here that are telling you about their companies and how great they are, and we all do very unique things and we all do them very well. The biggest tip I could probably give anybody out there is really just try to focus on a few so you really have some really good partners to work with. So when you go out to your customers, make sure that you're providing the 2 or 3 that you do understand well and what their value prop is instead of providing 6 or 7. I think that's when you really start to do some injustice to your customers. So really take the time to partner, hopefully it'll be a call tower, but partner with the guys up here and understand their product mix and educate yourselves on that so that you can do that heavy lifting with us for your customers.
I would agree. Again, our job is to help all of you, to educate you, as people were saying, to service your customers well. But pick what you're going to be good at and go deep. Don't try to do peanut butter. Don't try to be a generalist. Don't try to be all things to all people. Pick what your unique value proposition is and pick the vendors that can help you achieve that. Pick the vendors that are financially viable. Pick the vendors that are there to support you. Pick the vendors that are there to serve your customers with integrity, and you're going to do well.
Yeah, I want to touch on education real quick. At RingCentral, it's really what it's all about, making sure our partners have an opportunity to truly understand UCaaS and also what RingCentral can bring to the table. We do what we call RingCentral Academies. We do 4 of those a quarter. We do 4 webinars per quarter. We're getting anywhere from 100 to 200 people per webinar. We'll make sure that you get on that schedule, and we'll get you out to the next Ring Central Academy. You know, a couple of the things that that you should know that we're doing in Q3. We talked a little bit about spiffs here. You know, compensation is a big part of what we do, but it's not everything that we do. But we do have some fun doing it. And so this quarter we are doing a 3 times MRR. We're also giving away a $35,000 Rolex watch. You know, just as these incentives and compensation. You know, take advantage of that while it's here.
I can go 5X.
Let's give Chuck one last.
Yeah, but 5 times $100.
We're down to 0 hour. Let's give Chuck his last minute. Go ahead.
We go 3X, and we're giving away a Tesla, we're giving away a Harley, so, you know, we're good stuff coming out.
You know,
Go ahead, Chuck.
you know, I don't have a Rolex watch or Porsche to give away. However, he's got one. This is great. But what we do have is a full suite of solutions that the channel community needs to know and understand. We've got some partners that are here today that 2 years ago had no idea how to approach a UCaaS deal or a contact center deal. One of those today has sold some of the largest contact centers nationally for us, hand in hand. My ask of you is simply this: take a look at what we have. We'll help educate you. We'll talk about the spiffs and the Rolexes and other things, but more importantly, we'll focus on your customers. We'll bring the right specialists to bear so that as you approach the business, whether you're focused on healthcare or finance or any other verticals, you're focused on the low end of the market or you're going high end with enterprise, we'll help bring the right resources to bear to help you be successful. At the end of the day, when you're successful, we are. So thank you.
All right, how about a round of applause for our panelists? Thank you.